juvenile?
It's been around for a long time, and fire departments have had to deal with it for many, many years, but it's becoming more complex. And I think it's maybe not necessarily becoming more of a problem, we're just recognizing it more. And I think the public now understands that the fire department has some programs and ways of helping them help their children to stop that behavior before they hurt themselves or someone else.
So what's your advice to the public then?
Well, advice to the public as far as preventing arson fires, or let's take the arson fires first. If you receive any threats, somebody threatens you or your family, take them seriously. Call the law enforcement officers or the fire department if it's a threat of fire. Secure your property. A lot of arson fires are abandoned properties. We need to make sure that those properties are boarded up or secured to where people cannot get into them easy enough. As far as a juvenile prevention, that's what our education is all about, and that's what Patty deals with every day.
So do you see a trend here when it comes to fires?
I think our juvenile and young adult fires caused by those people is slowly going up. We've seen some rise, I think, just since I've been in the fire service of that problem, or maybe they're just being reported more, but there's definitely a growing problem.
The youth fire safety, why fire safety?
The Wi-Fi Coalition.
Can you talk about it?
It was formed about 3 years ago when some individuals in the community, fire departments, burn care, law enforcement, we began really seeing a trend in increase. It used to be where it was small children who were just curious, just experimenting, but now we were seeing...
So you're talking about non-purposely fires made, now you're seeing more of purposely.
Well, yes and no.
Okay.
Our concern, I guess, was that that the age of the juvenile fire setter was going up, that we weren't seeing the smaller children as much. We were seeing a lot of teenagers, and that concerned us because they're old enough. They know right from wrong. They know about the dangers of fires, yet they continue that dangerous behavior anyway.
But what happened then? I mean, why we have seen shift? I mean, it's got to be a reason.
I wish we knew. Maybe lack of education might be a part of it. Again, it might be the lack of reporting. Because now hospitals, emergency rooms, medical facilities, by law, have to report these now. You're going to have a burn care person here shortly that maybe she can answer that question as far as how they're reported.
The reason I'm asking you this question because maybe the society is going in that direction, that we see a lot of loss or low morale or morality issues, and it's like a game to them. It's done purposely.
Right. That's a point that I was going to bring up. I mean, society, the last 20 or 30 years, we see more children on medication. We see more children with psychiatric problems. And I think the fire setting runs along the same lines as that. We didn't used to see girls starting fires 15, 20 years ago. It was very rare. We're seeing more and more of that now, girls being involved in that. Most families we deal with that have some juvenile fire setting problems in their home, I've noted are almost always a broken family, being raised by the mother without the father influence being there. I think a lot of that is a societal problem that we're dealing with, and that's why we're getting to the older age groups now, possibly.
What about the 4th of July, like fireworks and so forth in these occasions? Is that different fire we're talking about here?
That's a different fire problem, yes. So that's just carelessness. Fireworks in most areas are legal, and people are maybe shooting things they shouldn't be shooting, using them in ways they're not to be used. But most of it is injuries more so than fires when you're talking about fireworks.
I'm going to take a phone call. Mr. Barfield.
Nabil seyam. I just wanted to say that you give a new meaning to the term fire in the belly, and just wanted to ask the fire marshal about, do we have a code 4 situation, or do you need more units?
I think we got him put out on the break.
It was fast, by the way, too. It was really fast. Hey, did you read that article, James? Hello? Oh, he's gone already. Okay. Yeah. So you said that is totally a different fire. Do you see more fires in vacant or not vacant, occupied or non-occupied homes or businesses?
I believe we see more intentionally set fires in vacant properties.
In vacant properties?
In vacant or unoccupied properties, yes.
Mm.
Because they're there, they're isolated. It's where children like to go and break into and play. Other people, because they're not being watched, they're easy to set a fire in.
Hello?
Hi, Nabil. This is Terry.
Yeah, Terry, how are you, sir?
Okay, I had a thought for you about fire.
Okay.
Back 100 years ago, everybody was real familiar with fire because we used it pretty much every day, and we're kind of separated from it. Particularly with youth and as you raise children, if you use fire for things like candles in the home and stuff, it would take some of the fascination kind of away from it. And you could watch your children and see what effect it's having on them. And I was a Boy Scout, and we went out each month, and we all got involved with fire and learned how to make them, use them, and put them out, you know. But I think if you brought fire back into the home through, let's say, letting the kids start the fire in the fireplace or something, and teach them to know it in a healthy way, it could help the problems with it later on.
Right. Good. Do you have a question for the marshal, Terry?
Not really. My question is, they talked about the healthy use of fire in homes and, let's say, social settings.
So it used to be even safer, although fires used to be inside the home, but it was safer.
Yes, and children were required to grow up with fire just to eat and to heat the home. Of course, nowadays we don't need to do that. We just flip a switch and it's all on. Yeah, children, we do teach children the good uses of fire. Without fire, we wouldn't be here because the sun is made of fire. But we do teach children that there are good uses of fire and there are bad uses of fire, and we need to try to split those up.
Okay, thanks, Terry.
Nabil?
Yes, sir.
My point is actually let the children get involved with it. Let them light the candles, feel the warmth, and, build the campfire rather than let the parent
Right.
do all of it and actually experience it and get an understanding of it, hands-on.
Right, I see that. That's a good point. Thanks, Terry. Is that a good thing to do?
You want to field that one?
Is it scary?
Well, I don't, as an educator, I personally don't like to hear that. A good example, when I was at that conference in Lawrence last week, one of the ladies I was talking to was from Iowa. We all had to talk about our community and our biggest challenge. And her biggest challenge was the Amish. They still use so much fire in their home. And they have so many fires in their Amish community, and a lot of burn injuries. And she said if we could just go in there and educate them and help reduce the number of fires. So obviously they're still using fire and flame, and she said it's just a real battle for them.
Tim, when you said arson fire, are we talking about youth? When we say youth, are we talking about gang fires? Homeless fire caused by, can you identify it a little bit more?
Well, as far as gangs go, we really don't have a gang problem and fire. We've not seen it in Sedgwick County, maybe just a very few times in Wichita. Typically, that's not their weapon of choice is fire. We're talking about a lot of horseplay. We're talking about a little bit of revenge here and there by older teens. And a lot of it's for thrills. Most of it's for thrills anymore.
The question: How do you identify that it is really an arson fire? How do you prove that?
Well, of course, we have the investigational methods that we have to learn. We need to determine if it was set on fire, and we also need to determine if there was any intent. If we've decided it is an intentional fire, is there any intent to hurt or kill or defraud somebody? From that point, we can decide if it's an arson or not. But it's a very complicated type issue to investigate fires, whether it's accidental or intentional.
I see.